weeks, which is a accelerated tenant improvement process for permits, the whole 9 yards. So if somebody wants to come to town, we can get you in quicker. We're coupling that along with how do we communicate for the parade? Well, and this is going to be the stroll, but how do we communicate as property owners and property managers for all sorts of issues that we run across with downtown? So it's in its early stages, but hopefully over the next 2 months, we'll just have a better dialogue with stakeholders, with the city, with tenants, and really a platform that we can use to hold what we have and build back up to where we were. So with that, we have any questions, you know how to reach us, and we'll keep working hard for you.
Great. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that update. And yes, we are very interested as an organization in making sure that our vacancy rate in the downtown stays as low as possible. We understand that we're dealing with, an economic uncertainty on every level. However, our downtown really is in a better position than many of our other peers around the city. We don't have the kind of sprawling multi-story office buildings that have been vacated. We don't have, 30% vacancy in the downtown, which is what I'm hearing from some of our colleagues across the nation in larger urban metropolitan areas. So looking forward to having those conversations with people who have invested in our downtown, and we'll hear more about that in the weeks to come. Thanks, Pat. And we also, at the board level, are going to be doing a raffle, which is going to be an exciting way to support our organization. So there's a task force on the board that has been busy collecting prizes and soliciting fantastic experiences in the downtown, and we'll begin selling those raffle tickets at the beginning of October. So this is just a little teaser. We'll give you more information about that upcoming. And with that, Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about our current reality when it comes to COVID-19?
Yes, thank you, Bettina. So as of Friday, we were at 3,360 cases of COVID-19 reported in SLO County, with most of who've recovered. The city accounts for 559 of those cases to give perspective for that total number. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 in our county is 27. That has increased over the last week, and our condolences go out to the families and friends of those individuals. As a reminder, we're still in that first wave, and testing is available, and you can learn more at readyslo.org. On the next slide, the county remains in the widespread category under the state's blueprint for safer economy. And on the following slide is what would happen if we moved from purple into red. So based on the data for average caseloads, positivity rate, and testing numbers in our county, we're in 1 week into a 2-week waiting period where we could potentially move into a less restrictive tier should everything hold at these lower numbers. That would include some exciting things such as retail increasing capacity for indoors to 50%, personal care services allowed to open indoors, museums 25% capacity, places of worship 25% capacity indoors, movie theaters, hotels and lodging, gyms, fitness centers, and restaurants, all getting some sort of increased capacity, as well as kind of opening up that option for indoors. To learn more about what could come for your business, you can visit covid19.ca.gov/safer-economy, and I'll drop that in the chat. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Bettina.
Great, thank you, Rachel. And the county did send out, and the city sent out a press release on Friday afternoon that said that we should all be making plans to move forward. So we'll all be waiting for today's numbers to come out. They usually come out between 1 and 2. And if the numbers look good for over the weekend, then we can prepare to move into this. One question I have gotten from a number of people is what happens if the state says that we can move from purple into red? How quickly does that happen? And the answer that Dr. Bornstein gave last week and that I will now share with you is basically it's as soon as possible. So you should be ready to press play if you're planning to open your business back up when you are allowed to do so. I've also heard from a number of businesses that they're planning to play it safe and wait a little while and see how things go. So of course it's totally up to you, but we want to make sure everybody understands the opportunities that are available to you. Wanted to give you a little bit of insight into an event that I attended on Friday, and I blatantly stole these screenshots from the Central Coast Economic Forecast, so I'm giving them total credit here. We had a presentation from Beacon Economics and Chris Thornburg, who comes every year to the county and presents various points of data on what's happening in the economy. And he has a very sort of optimistic view of the economy, especially for our region. And I thought this would be just some interesting data to look at. One is that we've probably heard, if you're paying attention to pundits or reading the news, there's a V-shaped economy, and it looks like we're definitely in a V-shaped economy here. You can see that we're not quite back to where we were last year, but we are coming back up. So it hasn't quite become like that L shape that people start talking about when it talks about a really solid recession. Also retails and restaurants, this I thought was especially germane to our downtown. You can see an even sharper V point, which is actually coming back to above where we were last year. And this is largely due to spikes in building material, the retail online, obviously, and I'll share some more about that in the next one. People are shopping online more. People are spending money at home goods stores. There's not the store Home Goods, but like Home Depot and Lowe's, they're making improvements to their houses. They're also, my mouse shifted. They're also spending less money on gasoline, which is unsurprising, and they're spending less money on food services and drinking places, which is why there's a lot of attention right now on the economy in dining and restaurants. That sector of our economy frequently operates on kind of a narrow margin anyway, so we're doing everything we can to support those. They also have, food that can go bad, and labor issues with trying to bring people back when you're at reduced capacity, and it's a busy business. So I thought that might be interesting for you to look at, and I encourage you to go to the Central Coast Economic Forecast website to learn more. I was really happy to be on that call and learn about what they're seeing. Also, this information about a shifting retail world, this should come as no surprise, right? What we've learned in COVID-19 is that it has accelerated a lot of trends, whether those trends be shopping online or work from home. And you can see this in the data here. Again, these are slides from Beacon Economics, and you can see that the e-commerce share has really gone up. Now, that means that even if you are a small local retailer, you can still have online sales, and we've seen great success with a lot of our local retailers build out their website and have a more robust online sales platform. As far as tourism trends go, we've been hearing from one of our board members, David Smith from Hotel SLO. He generally chimes in and talks a little bit about the hotel occupancy in our downtown. We have 4 hotels. We have Hotel Cerro, Hotel SLO, the Granada, and the Garden Street Inn. And all of those have seen pretty good occupancy rates, especially over the last month as Cal Poly students were moving in. Their parents were staying in hotels, and the tourism season was kind of winding up. We're still wrapping up, I think. But you can see the SLO area, we're actually doing a little bit better than some of the other areas in competing markets. So we're doing pretty well, even though we're down year over year. So that's kind of interesting to think about as we develop our organization, our destination as a drive market. And there's been a lot of conversation about building out the airport as well to bring in more tourism, but interesting data for you to share. So that was about it I had from the Central Coast Economic Forecast. It's a great event. It's put on annually, and this year they did it in a couple different sessions. So go on their website and check it out for more information. Up next, I would like to invite, we have a special guest with us today, the new Interim Executive Director of the Economic Vitality Corporation, Maria Kelly. And I've known Maria for a while. It's great to see you in your new role. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Bettina. I'm going to share screen for just a couple of minutes, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Actually, hang on just a minute. Sorry. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a little, I've been on the job for about 3 weeks. Coming from a board position into a staff position has been really exciting. So I've been enjoying the transition. So here we go. And so I put just a few slides together to sort of provide a real high level update of what we're doing right now, and where we see ourselves working, really focusing over the next 6 months. So right now we're working on an EDA grant that has us specifically looking at some COVID information, which I'll share with you. We have an EMSI as a data tool that's looking at an analysis of where are we losing businesses that are where could we have businesses that we could be growing and utilizing here versus maybe people are searching or outsourcing certain work efforts out. And then just some real high level next initiatives. So our project that we're working on where we're most excited right now is that stage 1, and we're about 80% complete. And the best exciting thing that's coming out of this that we'll be sharing with the community, and specifically at the city and sub-region level, is some analysis around a SWOT analysis that really identifies at a characteristic in, like, for San Luis Obispo, or for maybe North County, Atascadero, Paso, what sort of businesses would do really well there, or we can look at diversifying some businesses that maybe we haven't thought of yet. And so it's going to take us a little bit of time to finish that work with the consultant, but we should have some really good action items and possibly catalyst projects that other economic partners can take and really run with. It wouldn't be necessarily something the ABC would be implementing at that level. It'd be sub-regional. And then there's some other tasks further down the road that'll take us through the next several months. And you can see those in item 2 and item 3. And I'm happy to answer any questions as we move through this. So the EMSI leakage analysis, which is kind of a nerdy, fun thing for people that love data and numbers, that we looked at 992 industries that operate in SLO County, and we really looked at what are the capabilities of expansion, or what sort of infrastructures are in place to help them expand, and what sort of wages are they paying. And we took that and we really went into some high level sort of like looking at wages over $50,000 per year, and looking at, do we have the technology ability? Do we have the space or capacity? And we really basically put them in through a funnel and a hopper and came out with 10 top industries. And we're still wrapping that up work as well. We will be doing a presentation at the board of directors meeting for the EDC on Wednesday. Guests are always welcome. So if you want to hear more thorough updates on any of this, guests are always welcome at our updates, and you can email us at info@sloebc.org if you'd like to join us for that. And then just some initiatives. The Workforce Development Task Force is a great group of local business leaders and educators who have been working on pathways to looking at sort of the pathway to success, or a pathway to employment for high school students, for college students. But one of the exciting things that happened last year, and I don't know how many of you were available to attend, but last October, so we would be having our second annual this October. Last October, about a little over 200 educators, business leaders, educators from elementary school, high school, and college came and discussed with sort of business owners and leaders what sort of skills were they really looking for from their students, so that some of the teachers could really tailor that, whether it was in the restaurant or hospitality industry, or actually it was all sorts of educators, even from like the horticulture, FFA. There were educators there saying what sort of skills are we looking that we could teach our children. And then we're working on a broadband summit for 2021. We have a grant that we've been working under to really continue to help support the initiative of, again, this isn't something that the EVC would be implementing. It's a work effort that we would be supporting and looking at. And congratulations to Pastoral Robles and Grover for some of their broadband work, and other communities are looking at this. But how can we as a county really be helping support and pushing this initiative together? We're really feeling the impacts of that lack of infrastructure with our children and our education community right now. And then we have a small grant from some from Bank of America and Wells Fargo, looking at childcare. What are some creative ways we can look at helping support fund? Is there a way to offset? Actually, there's all kinds of things I could go on there, but different ways that we could look at supporting the childcare industry, and any other pathways we can find there from broader communities. So we have some capacity to do some of this work, and then share it with First Five and help make sure that the people that are the experts in the field to implementation have information and data and possibly some extra resources that they need. That is me fast talking. If there's any questions or anything you want me to touch on, again, I can happy to chat with you via chat, or again, you can reach out to me directly, and I'll put my email in the chat. And thanks for having me, and congratulations on all your great work. So thanks.
Thanks, Maria. I actually have 2 questions for you to put you on the spot in week 3.
Absolutely.
The first is, can you talk about what EDA is, for those of us who might not be familiar with that?
So sorry about my apologies, and I always get that acronym wrong as well. I probably don't have it right now, but it's a grant. It's a federal grant that economic developers or different organizations can apply for. It's from a federal level that really looks at economic development work, but very specific tasks. So the grant that we're working off of was one that we were originally awarded in 2017 around the struggles that the corridor Highway 101 and Highway 1 had when they had economic impacts from a disaster, from the landslides. That one has been repurposed for now looking at sort of the COVID impact. So it's a federal that we do, it's basically work on from a federal standpoint. That's to take a look at what we can be doing with it locally. So a lot of people utilize EDA grants, but I'll type that acronym and add it to the chat too.
Is it an ongoing grant, or is it something that you have to apply for specific projects? You
apply for it. Thanks. That's a great question. You apply for it for specific projects, or it's not an ongoing funding stream. I'm happy to add a link. I'll put it in the chat if people want to follow up on it, but it is federally funded grants.
Great. And one other question is, you mentioned that there are the top sectors for opportunity.
Yes.
What are the top 3?
You know what? I did not write that down in my notes. I will go and I will add that to the chat too. The only one that I can remember that was actually really fun was actually the last one, and we were kind of laughing about it because the top 3 are more like computer science, computer software, computer development, those types of things. But the last one was kidney dialysis. Apparently we are sending too many people out of the county for kidney dialysis, and we could actually be doing a lot better and actually have a pretty significant impact on the economy if we were just being able to provide that service here.
Well, people can come to downtown SLO.
Yeah, you can.
Gosh, that's a really interesting.
It was.
Well, I'm not going to try to unpack that one.
No, yeah, I wasn't even going to dive into it too far, but I will add some more information in the chat for everyone.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Thanks
really
again.
Appreciate it. Welcome to your new role, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and up next, you may have noticed we've got screen sharing here. We have Peter Williamson with Rideshare, and we invited you to come and talk a little bit about access to downtown and what you're doing in the rideshare world. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. So we have a lot going on. My name is Peter. I work for the Council of Governments, and that's our region's agency for transportation planning and funding. And I am joined by my colleague, Catalina, as well. I think you've seen her on a few of these meetings. It's her birthday, so we can all sing, "This is your birthday song. It isn't very long." Hey. So yeah, we are doing a fall campaign. And before I get into that, I will mention that we are also doing a lot of work from home, remote work resources. We're going to be giving away some of these sweet blue light glasses if you want to pair. Log your work from home trips probably later this fall. And if you're looking to do policy, we've drafted work from home policy for different employers, and we have all kinds of resources for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about pavement to parks. Some on this call may be participating in this already, which would be awesome. And I'll let Catalina take the next slide.
Yeah. So this year we created a campaign called Pavement to Parks. It's to celebrate the transformation of underutilized public space, so parking lots, parking spots. One silver lining of the pandemic is that we now have pocket parks that are popping up throughout the county and some sweet new bike lanes downtown. All right. So while most businesses are expanding into nearby parking spaces out of necessity, we are seeing a number of voluntary pocket parks show up. So those are allowing for some safe business, socializing, dining, and more. We're currently recruiting new and existing parklets in SLO to participate in the campaign. So just to name a few right now, we have ours at Slowcog, we have Woodstocks, Covert Blue, Big Sky, Shins, and Luis's Place. We have a huge list of downtown locations. So if you live outside of downtown SLO, you can find about a dozen more participating locations scattered throughout every jurisdiction in the county, which is pretty cool. You can check out the growing list of participants at that URL on the screen there, so rideshare.org/park.
Yeah, this is actually in the Village. It's Humdingers. I set this up for the Arroyo Grande City Council meeting, but before it was a picture of downtown SLO. So participants, to participate, we're sending a newsletter out to our database of 16,000. We're doing social media, New Times ad, etc., saying, hey, go to these locations and look for these QR posters. So it's like an 11x17 laminated, and they'll go and just scan the QR code and rank your parklet and get a chance to win some money as well. And then we encourage our participants to also take a photo. They have now through October 9th. I think we're going to extend this campaign through the 30th, just because it's continuing to pick up steam in the outer communities. And so again, this is the Mason Bar and the Village. Sorry guys, but there are so many locations in SLO. So yeah, each time someone rates the parklet, you get some accolades for your business that will give you a chance to win some pretty big financial prizes to support building out your outdoor space. And I'll let Kat talk a little bit about the social media.
Yeah, so if you are on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, you can use the hashtag #ParksLowCounty there at the bottom for a chance to win some additional prizes that we're giving out. We want to see how you're going to use the space to, dine, relax. I think Peter had his annual review in ours, which is pretty cool. But as Peter mentioned, we do have sponsorship money and a lot of marketing opportunities available for participating locations. We have financial prizes, like he said, for parklets that get voted best in the categories seen here. So if you're a business owner or a manager and you're interested in creating an outdoor space for your business, you can shoot us an email there at info@rideshare.org, or you can give us a call at 511 and we will give you the details.
You can drop in some more direct contact info in the chat box too, post-presentation. Thanks to our partners that are making this possible. Definitely check out that list of locations. Is anybody on the call participating? Unmute yourself and say hello.
I don't think we do have anybody right now, but we have more than 30 parklets in the downtown, and we've put together a map of all the parklets. And I know our ambassador and our staff have worked on getting the information out there. So this video will probably be viewed on our Facebook and in the email that we send out to folks who might be working at their restaurants right now.
Awesome. Yeah, so this list is growing for sure. We definitely have probably more than half, thanks to Austin at the downtown. So, I mean, that's really a good partnership and probably should be on the thank you slide. So thank you, Downtown Association and the city as well for giving us Cassandra, been going around doing all kinds of outreach and adding businesses to this list. So it's a fun participation on both sides. The sponsorships are pretty popular, and we're happy to add new parklets. So if your business wants to get involved, I know the city's pretty open to doing a parklet. They'll provide a little bit less if it's not out of pandemic necessity. But I know that they're willing to support any parklets that want to pop up. So you don't have to be like a restaurant to make this happen. Okay, so briefly, we'll also give you an update on modes, just because, things are a little bit different now than they were. So if you're not riding the bus, for example, masks are required for all riders, and it's no express routes right now, which means I think the earliest you can get to downtown, you might be able to still get to downtown by 7:30. But yeah, not having those express hasn't been a huge deterrent. There's not a lot of people that have said, oh, what the heck? And then so for my daily ride from South County, a lot of the regulars are working from home now. There's still a pretty full bus coming in by 7:30. And so, yeah, probably every seat is full. The bus drivers have the glass thing as you get on board. You are scanning your pass. I think it's still 50 cents to ride on at least the Regional Transit Authority, RTA. And slow transit still free if you're in the downtown access area. That program's continuing. Walking, biking, we're seeing a spike in those commute options now. A lot of people probably that were taking the bus or biking sometimes. So that's kind of nifty to see. Kat, what's going on with the van pools and the carpools?
Yeah, so we were doing a waste subsidy that is on hold right now, obviously for carpools. We are matching individuals who feel comfortable carpooling with their coworkers. So if you have a workforce that you're trying to get them to carpool, we can still help you with that. Our van pools are operating at about 70% right now. So if you're interested in van pools, we can also provide you some information there. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, still happy to match people up and make that happen where it's popular. The ride matching platform participation has been a little bit down. But yeah, nothing too exciting to report there. Also mentioned Walk to School Day. We're still doing a campaign. It will be October 7th, and we're doing a virtual event that works with PE programs at, we have 47 of 57 schools in the entire county participating. We'll probably get the other 10, hopefully. And that's basically if your kid joins their virtual PE programming that day, they'll get some, talk about active transportation and an optional assignment for a chance to win a bike, which will feed into some important data for programming, funding, and planning. So if anybody has questions, we'd be happy to answer them. I'm not sure if that was allotted time-wise, but that's pretty much it for us.
Great, thanks so much. Really appreciate all that info. And we do encourage people to use that rideshare program when they're accessing the downtown, especially if you live outside of SLO City. And that's just always a good thing to free up more parking in the downtown core for our customers and users instead of our workers. So thanks for being on the call. We really appreciate all your work. And thanks for getting all that funding to the winners of the Parks to Pavement, or Pavement to Parks, the other way around. All right, great. And up next, we have the interim director manager of economic development from the city of San Luis Obispo, Lee Johnson. How are you today, Lee?
Doing well, Bettina, doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So I'll try and go through a few things pretty quickly here.
I cannot see you, however.
I had my camera on. Maybe I got a bandwidth problem.
Okay.
I have a 15-year-old home Zooming, so I may have a more of a bandwidth problem.
Got it.
Try again. Okay, so a couple things on the move from blue to red. The data that the state gets lags by a week, so we're pretty confident that they have our data for the county, and we have the potential to move into red tomorrow. The big question is the state does, based on testing, they give you a credit that can reduce your metrics and help you. So depending on how they calculate that credit, it's a bit of a black box, but we should move into red tomorrow. And one of the things to be aware of, if you're one of the businesses that can move inside, the occupancy requirement, you still have to follow all of the social distancing guidelines. So you still need the 6 feet, you still need all of those things. So your occupancy may allow for more people than you can actually have if you have to meet all the guidelines. So that's just something to be aware of. Following up on the parklet information, we sent out on Friday kind of guidelines and FAQ and things for outdoor operations to help clarify for people what can be done outside if you're doing business outside. And kind of the big difference or big thing to know is you can kind of keep people dry or you can keep them warm, but not both. There's just the heaters and canopies and tents and everything create a fire problem. So it's just a bit of a challenge. We'll be having a Zoom call that's great. We thank Downtown SLO for hosting on Thursday at 9 a.m. to answer questions around that. So please join that call if you can. If not, you can always ask openslo@slocity.org if you have questions about how to operate outdoors as we head into winter. There are some questions about what's happening downtown as far as cleaning and things. And we continue to do tile replacement. We are doing extra bi-weekly or every other week, fortnightly parklet cleanup to keep the leaves and everything down. We also have our pressure wash contract continuing. I think most of the Vigera is done at this point. We have also ordered a new sweeper and scrubber equipment that should be in and in operation by the end of the month. And then we've also have a purchase order out for new truck mounted pressure washing, which will help us get to different areas and be a little bit faster. So that should be coming in as well. Just so everyone's aware, on last Thursday, the city announced a funding opportunity for nonprofits to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. Basically, there's up to $120,000 will be available for nonprofits who are in physical and mental health services, education, housing, criminalization, food security, community representation, various areas. That's just a list. It's not limited by that list. There's an application process, etc. I will drop the link and an email address into the chat so everyone has it. And then the city's small business grant program, their winners should be announced this week, and maybe the chamber will give a bit more of an update on that. That is all that I have for today. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Lee. Very thorough. And do you have any insider knowledge about whether you think it's going to be, like, what percentage chance do you think it's going to be that we go from purple to red?
Dr. Borenstein said she was highly optimistic, I think is the wording she used last Wednesday. And they have our data, so it lags by a week. So they know exactly what our data is. And we're pretty sure we know how they calculate the credit. So I would say it's a pretty good chance. But saying that, we are on the edge of that data. And so one family gathering or one event that goes wrong can move us back out. And then we'll be in San Diego shape where they went 2 weeks basically in red. And now they're likely going back to purple, which none of us want to do. So we have to keep up the wearing the mask, the social distancing, the washing your hands. We really have to do that for all of our businesses so we can keep moving forward.
Got it. All right. Well, we'll all be tuning in, and we'll share out as soon as we know what is coming.
Yeah, hopefully the county will send a press release as soon as we have clarity, and the city will follow right on that, and then we can go from there.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and up next, we have an update from Jim D'Antona, CEO of the SLO Chamber. Hi, Jim. How are you today?
Good. It's great to see you, Bettina, and everybody. Thanks so much for having us. Just want to kind of give you a few updates. Obviously, we've started out, we do a monthly kind of survey, and it's we're coming to closing tonight, and we're hoping if you've had a chance, if you haven't had a chance, to give us your feedback. We know that there is, besides Zoom fatigue, there is now survey fatigue. Because we can't do these things in person, everybody, we're trying to get as much feedback. Know that the information you give us is helping kind of figure out what we're going to be providing to assist you or help or understand where things are at, as you do on this call, to try and figure out how we should be best serving you and what you need. So if you get a chance, you can, we'll put the link in the chat here to go over and provide some information on that to help us kind of guide that conversation. Additionally, tonight at 4:30, we will be having hosting the SLO Mayoral Candidate Forum. You can go over and click over into the chamber website, and we'll also probably throw that link here too, to come and listen to Heidi Harmon, Don Hedrick, Sandra Marshall, and Cherise Sweeney talk about their vision for the city of SLO. An incredibly important conversation. If you were able to attend last week's conversation with our SLO City Council candidates, we do the same thing here, where we're going to break you up into small groups. You're actually going to be able to sit in a small group with each of these candidates and have a conversation. It's not a standard forum where they stand up in front and kind of argue, debate their stuff. You actually get to ask the questions. So we found it to be extremely helpful for voters, and we love doing it. So that's tonight from 4:30 to 5:30. That then leads me to till Thursday. We have our Good Morning SLO program, where we will have a great conversation, some really fun stuff coming up, and serious conversations too regarding the status of the arts. The state is providing credits on hiring and business. We'll be having Glenn Burdett come in and give us a quick update. So if you're a business that's going to want to take advantage of some of these credits, there's some things you can do today, even though we don't know all the rules, to get ready for that. But again, there's SLO COG, even though we just talked with them on one piece, there's another piece about regional rail. The other part we're having Giovanni's, who's from Morro Bay, talking about the fish industry and where we're at and how things are going there. So lots of interesting conversations. And again, we're doing breakout rooms at the end so you can get a little networking in. So we hopeful getting into and talking to these folks and hearing from them. And I think that gives us all for what we have for you today. And hopefully we'll see you at the candidate forum.
Thanks, Jim. And I was on the candidate forum for City Council last week, and I got to say, I really enjoyed the Zoom format. Actually found it to be in some ways maybe better than an in-person gathering, which I'm sure not everybody feels that way, but that was just my little piece of feedback. I do see there's a comment that $15 is a bit steep for these forums. Are there other more affordable ways for people to learn about the mayoral candidates?
I think certainly, well, you can go to our website at any time, and we do have the ability, you can read through a questionnaire we've provided for all of them to provide their feedback on the questions we ask them. Again, not your questions, but, and then additionally, the League of Women Voters might be hosting something for it. And again, we've had this question too, so they're on the price on why we're doing it. It actually does take us quite a bit of time to set these up, manage them, do all of those things. So we certainly understand that all this information, but this is also to make sure you get that close interaction with those folks. So our staff member, Jackie Clark-Charlesworth, just posted in there the videos and questionnaires that we will update there. We will also update their opening statements from tonight's event in those same spots. So that's another way, if that's just not part of it, how to put it together.
Great. Well, thanks, Jim. We'll see you this afternoon.
Yep.
And just as a reminder to everybody, Downtown SLO does not endorse any candidates for city council or mayor. So we are not participating in that from an endorsement side, but we definitely encourage everybody to vote and make time for voting and allow your employees to vote. All right, up next, we have a new speaker from Cal Poly SLO. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome. Our board liaison, Courtney Keno, is out today, so we invited Cynthia to join us. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm good. How are all of you doing?
Nice to see you. It's been a while.
You too. Thanks for having me. Yeah, Courtney's out today, so she asked me to fill in. I'm Cynthia Lambert. I'm a communications specialist for Cal Poly in our University Communications and Marketing Division. And I am also one of the public information officers in our Emergency Operations Center. So since March is when we fully activated our EOC, this has pretty much been what I've been doing since then. So I wanted to give you some updates. I wanted to talk a little bit about our EOC and then give you some updates on some of the things that we're doing on campus and things that we have students doing to maintain health and safety on campus. We're in our second week of fall quarter. We just started last Monday. So our EOC, it really encompasses folks from across campus in planning and responding to COVID-19. There's about 45 people on the team, but through numerous task forces, we had 30 task forces at our peak earlier this year. We've had a couple hundred people participate in the response. We've had task groups, there were 6 on the academic side alone to support virtual teaching and learning, study abroad, creating study space on campus and other things. We've had task groups formed to support the county's alternate care site at our recreation center, to create isolation and quarantine plans for students, and to create a strategy to clean, disinfect, and install signage throughout our academic buildings for fall. I think Courtney may have mentioned last week a new dashboard that we just rolled out. I'm putting the link in the chat. We have a couple of sites that we're sharing information. Oh, thank you. We have our coronavirus website, and we also have a site called Roadmap, which is where we're sharing a lot of our plans for fall. Our coronavirus site is where we're doing the tracking of our cases, plus sharing a lot of other health and safety information. So this dashboard is updated Monday through Friday. It's a bit of a starting point. We created this in collaboration with the county. And I think going forward, we'll probably share more data as we can. At this point, so all of the tests that are performed at Campus Health and Wellbeing, we test students. So that is what this dashboard reflects. It doesn't reflect tests that come back from faculty or staff or students who test in the community. Those are tracked on the county's dashboards. These are students who have tested at our health center, and they may live on campus or off campus. So you'll see the number of tests. We have 85 overall since July 8th, which is when we start conducting tests at the health center. We also, let's see, so I'll talk a little bit about just the testing. Leading up to fall quarter, we required students who are coming back on campus to live or coming back to take in-person classes or work or access other services on campus to have a negative COVID-19 test. So we at the health center have done nearly 2,000 tests since August 30th. Of those, nearly 1,900 were in the past 2 weeks. I know the county tested about 1,000 students alone in the week leading up to the start of fall quarter. We've been working really hard at that. And now students have a tool where they're doing a self-screening daily if they need to come on campus to access services. So it's a way for students to check their personal health, to assess symptoms, and receive immediate guidance. It's an important daily step that applies both to on and off campus students. We're requiring it for students who come back on campus for any reason, and they'll receive, once they complete the screening and they get a pass, they'll receive a little green happy face that they can then show to faculty, staff, anyone who asks to see that test. If they don't pass the screening, they'll be denied access and they'll be instructed to take additional steps, like contacting the health center for further evaluation. We saw really great compliance and success with the tool so far in its first week. It provides us with a way to identify students who have indicated an exposure to COVID-19 to do a follow-up. And it's another layer of proactive support and care for students. We're really encouraging all students to complete the tool, even if they're not on campus or coming to campus. Also on our coronavirus site, we have more information about isolation and quarantine. You'll see those numbers in the dashboard where we're tracking the students who are isolated or quarantined on campus. We provide them with wraparound services, meal delivery, laundry service, cleaning supplies, and then regular communications to check on their physical and mental health and well-being. We're also creating plans to keep students engaged, such as dropping off a craft box or some options to do yoga or meditation or other things to keep them connected while they're isolating or quarantining for 10 to 14 days. It's a good amount of time. On the dashboard, you'll notice also there's something we're calling quarantine in place. It's a little different than quarantine in that it's not directed by county public health order, but it is, if a group of students in a residence hall, for example, there's a potential exposure there, in coordination with the county, we may direct those students to quarantine in place for 14 days. So they are not allowed to go to class or work, but they can leave their room with a face covering to pick up food and bring it back to their room. They have a little more leeway to do those types of things than students who are in quarantine. And then our campus health and wellbeing team is coming to the residence halls to test those students on a regular basis. So you'll see more information about that on the web pages as well. Just a couple other things I wanted to mention. Our plans, our efforts to prepare campus for fall quarter included distributing face coverings and face shields to all students living on campus, all students coming to campus for in-person classes, and all faculty and staff working on campus. So we distributed more than 10,000 packets of PPE, including 4,600 to university housing, 3,500 to divisions for employees, and then the remainder to off-campus students. And we still have packets for students to pick up if they need to. And then through the EOC, we have printed and installed thousands of directional and behavioral signs across campus. Actually, some students in our university graphic systems, which is a student managed enterprise within the graphic communication department, helped print these signs. And I was going to share my screen if I could, just to show you one of the signs, if that's possible. Let's see, does that mean? So this is a sign that students will see pretty much in every classroom entrance, some building entrance offices, where they need to show their daily health screening pass, and we're reminding them to wear a face covering. And
We're
we're
not
also
seeing the sign.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Can you tab
I
over?
can just put it in the chat real quick. Sorry.
That's all right.
We're also using the slow the spread hashtag to reinforce what the city and county are doing as well. Please let me know if you can't see that. And then last but not least, I just wanted to mention that we received some good news. For the 28th straight year, Cal Poly was named the best public master's level university in the West by US News and World Report. That's all. Unless anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for that detailed update, Cynthia. I have a question. I know you of course are focusing on the environment on campus where you have dorms and you can kind of control that environment. What kind of conversations are you having with some of the major apartments that are around campus, and what's happening out there?
Yeah, we are really trying to get the message out to all students that they need to do their part. They need to refrain from having gatherings, parties. They need to be physically distant, stay at home as much as possible, wear their face coverings, all of those things. Our Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities, I can put this link in the chat too. We have a reporting form, so we're really making it clear to students that they may face certain student conduct action, which could include suspension or expulsion if they don't follow these types of guidelines. And again, I'll put this for those who are interested in the chat. So there's a reporting form that anyone could fill out. We're also getting reports from the San Luis Obispo Police Department. If there's any off-campus gatherings or parties that are reported, we're getting that information for possible student conduct action as well.
Have there been any reports? Like, how was the weekend? Do you know yet?
Our EOC call is going on right now, so I'm not sure about this weekend, but I know that last week that there have been some reports of large gatherings. I think there was one report of a larger gathering and then others of smaller sizes, 10, 15, 20 people, but at least one of a larger size.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate it, and good luck with this week. And yeah. All right. Well, thank you. That was a lot of information. We are coming up at almost 11 o'clock, and the good news is that we're almost done with our call today too. So I hope everything has been interesting to you. We are a pickup spot for your community shared agriculture box for SLO Veg. So if you sign up at slowveg.com, you can pick up your produce in downtown on Thursday afternoon. We've done this for 2 weeks now, and we're hoping that more people will sign up for this great opportunity, as we are not operating the farmers market at this time. So we want to make sure you have access to those fruits and veggies and support our community farmers. We have the downtown dine out open daily, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's a great place to have a coffee, have some take your takeout, and just want to make sure you all know about this. It's been really fun to see Mission Plaza kind of come to life through the activation of this space with something as simple as tables and chairs. And we are having a volunteer cleanup day, and that will be on Saturday, October 10th, so 10/10/2020. And we're inviting all interested people to come give a few hours on your Saturday morning to help us just clean up the downtown, get it ready for winter, clean up from the busy summer tourism months, and make sure that everything's spruced up and ready to go. If you are interested in signing up for this, there is a form you can fill out, and Cassidy Shevlin, who is our new AmeriCorps VIP fellow working with our organization right now, she will be the point person organizing this activity. So Cassidy, if you could drop that sign up sheet into the chat, that would be great. And we continue to serve alongside many other people who are downtown professionals. I will be attending virtually the International Downtown Association Conference in the first week of October, and I will be happy to report back on that on our weekly call. So at this time, we're going to go into our polls, and Rachel, if you could drop those and make those start. So we ask these polls every week, and we have some fun trend lines to look at while people are voting. So you can see we have been going there. This is, gosh, okay, 2 months now we've been going through here. And the thing that makes me happy is that the very pessimistic line has not been like going straight up. So it's all over the map. There's nothing to be predictable here, but interesting. Nobody has said that that's very pessimistic yet. So we'll give you just a couple more seconds to fill that out, and then we'll share the information here. And the next question that we ask is, what is the biggest challenge facing your business today? And we continue to see uncertain consumer confidence is by far the largest thing. And I think this is going to continue. As the federal economic stimulus runs out, as we continue to see just uncertainty in every part of the economy, consumer behavior is something that we're all watching. I think that there has been pretty good foot traffic and customers in the downtown, especially over the last, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks with the Cal Poly students and their parents coming back into town. That certainly helps improve our footfall, as well as just people adjusting into the reality of, wearing face masks, trying to maintain social distance. We'll see how that goes over the coming weeks if we do move into the red tier from purple. So yeah, okay, everybody is just not knowing what the consumer is doing. And I think that's probably indicative of the fact that we are all consumers and we might be uncertain about what we're doing as well. So just a reminder that we are all in this together. And we really appreciate you all being here and continuing to show up week after week. We know that you're busy, and we continue to have about 30 people coming into this call every week. We look forward to seeing you next week as well. And if there are any questions, we'd be happy to take those in the chat, but y'all have been pretty quiet today. Maybe you're just getting ready for the news, as we may hear. So if there are no questions, we just invite you to come back and be with us next Monday, September 28th. And if you find this to be interesting, please tell a friend. And we really appreciate you being here. We hope you have a great week. Enjoy the blue skies, and we will see you around downtown. Thanks, everybody.